Good afternoon, wonderful Sunday afternoon, morning, or evening, wherever you are. My name is Commander 401, and welcome to my channel. We're going to be pointing and laughing at UFO conspiracies. And I have a very special guest, friend, Brainless Steel. Say hello.
Hello. Yes, I'm special. Sorry. Yeah.
In an
How you
extremely good way, unlike the people that we are going to be pointing and laughing
doing?
at.
They're also something special. Yes. Yeah. That kind of people is special as well. Oof.
We're going to
That's right.
be we're going to be reviewing videos by the Doctor God Sala or whatever the heck his name is. He's not a real doctor. I think for like $29.95 you can get a doctorate like he has too. So let's begin.
7 sleeping Anunnaki scientists are in the process of awakening and revealing advanced technology and hidden knowledge secrets.
You are listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Sala, your source for the uncensored truth regarding the human, extraterrestrial, global, and political agenda. Click the like button and subscribe to this channel. And now, here's Dr. Michael Sala.
Please click the like button and subscribe to my channel, not Dr. Sala.
Not that dumbass channel. No. Please do not.
On November 1st, my US Army source, JP, revealed that another giant king in a stasis chamber had been found in Iraq. According to other sources, the giant is one of a group of 12 scientists left by a departing faction of the Anunnaki.
And for those who don't know, watch my first stream to find out who JP is. He was talking about a Ukrainian space ark that Putin wanted to capture that was going to be lifting off back in 2022. Well, that really didn't happen, but his audio was real shit.
Cuckoo.
JP gave details of the location of the sleeping giant as somewhere under the remains of the Sumerian city of Nippur, which was the ancient capital of the leader of the Anunnaki space fleet, Enlil, and his son, Ninurta. The location of Nippur as one of the places where a sleeping giant could be found was highly significant, as it meant some of the ancient Anunnaki space technology was almost certain to be found hidden in the buried ruins. In my previous
Sorry, it is so fucking ridiculous. I cannot stop laughing. It's just like, who the fuck believes this?
Well, that's a very good question. And if I had set this up, I would show you a YouTube channel full of candid coded nonsense known as spirit science, where they actually believe this shit.
No, please, not spirit science. Not spirit science. I've seen enough of them on what's the knight's name again? Not Regical.
Sir Sick.
Sir Sick. Oh my fucking god. No. Oh fuck. They're. Oh no. That no. Not that. But this is just as stupid.
Well, at least this isn't cartoon colored bullshit. But yeah, it's just regular bullshit. I mean, look at that flying turd there.
Yeah. No, but also they said like they're sleeping scientists trying to awake something. What?
Oh, that it gets good because it is seemingly that you need shamans to awake people from advanced technology.
Previous article discussing JP's update, I mentioned how Thorhan Eredyan had revealed the identity of the giant to Elena Danan to be Aruna, one of Enlil's children. In order to find out more about Aruna and other sleeping giants, Elena asked Enki, aka Prince Ea, about the identity of the sleeping Anunnaki that had been left behind when he left Earth after the Great Flood, circa 9700 BC.
Oh, and for those who are unaware, this is all the ancient Babylonian bullshit. So Enki and
Yeah, like what kind of name? Never mind. What kind of name is that? Inky.
Enlil and all that. This is like the stuff that when they were talking about the Great Flood circa 9000 something BC, this is basically where a lot of the mythology from the Bible originates from. Because, like, Abram was from Ur, and Ur was in and around the area of Babylon and Baghdad and all that stuff. So just mythology building on top of mythology.
They just keep on babbling on.
Well, I think that's where it came from. But I mean, look, they're spacefaring civilizations and they got fucking wings. I mean, wow, they got wings, right? Really technologically advanced flying.
What follows is Enki's responses to Elena's questions, where he discusses a total of 12 Anunnaki scientists that had been left behind, each possessing unique esoteric knowledge and technology secrets. What follows is Enki's responses to Elena's questions.
Oh, fuck, the flower of life. I'm
Oh,
going to have to leave a link to Cold Hard Logic's video on the flower of life in the description, because you will not be able to stop laughing for the last 5 minutes, because it basically is shaped like a cat's anus. Don't you think? And it just repeats and repeats and repeats in a repeating pattern.
Well, in the side chat, there's a Miss Loki. She's got cats. Do you agree? Does it look like a cat's anus? I usually I tend not to look at that part of the cat. I don't know why, but
you know, bad ideas are shaped in a way that seemingly flows from the anus. So
where he discusses a total of 12 Anunnaki scientists that had been left behind, each possessing unique esoteric knowledge and technology secrets. Enki, my crew decided to stay. Well, indeed most of them.
This guy's claiming to be speaking with basically ancient Babylonian gods.
Yeah, but sorry, but that name just keeps cracking me up. Inky. I don't know. It just sounds so stupid.
I made a 3D model of an octopus that I called Mr. Inky. I will have to find it.
Some others decided to leave Earth with me. They wanted to go home, but those who stayed took upon the mission and responsibility to be the keepers of the knowledge. Each of them, you see, are key activators for the technology. Not only their body's genetic frequency key is necessary, but it must be coupled with their personal consciousness. You see, consciousness is the key. Elena, how many are they, the sleeping Anunnaki in stasis? Enki, they were 12, but 4 bodies have been destroyed and 1 is in the custody of the enemy. 7 remain untouched, 4 are in the process of activation. Elena, Kukulkan is one of the 4? Enki, Ningishzida, yes. Elena, who are the others?
And for those who don't know who Elena Denon is, let me give you an idea. She's a former archaeologist. Notice that, former, and now she's in contact with some galactic federation of androgynous Nordic looking aliens. So she threw her entire career as a real archaeologist away for this bullshit.
That's sad. But also, like, one was captured by the enemy. Who's the enemy?
Who's the enemy? I don't know. It's the they. The they.
Sorry to say it, Commander, but you think that they're talking about the ones with the space lasers, aka the Jews?
Well, probably because all these conspiracy theories lead to the anti Semitic point of no return. Because after all, get this, right? All these people who are trying to prevent this new world order, they not only want to kick over the existing world order, thereby ushering in a new world order, but they want to stop a Jewish king from arising who will unite all the nations in brotherly love. And that's supposedly what Christianity is supposed to be. So watch it when someone says, I want to kick over the existing world order to stop the new world order, because that's exactly what Putin wants.
Yeah, but also, if you kick off the current world order to prevent the new world order, that's illogical
Because you've just ushered in a new world order.
Yeah, like if you would want to prevent a new world order, you want the current world order to stay in place.
The NATO-based, rules-based order. We're getting off track here, but Soloviev basically said war is the natural state of man, so we basically all need to die. But you know what? Ever since the end of World War II, when the nations of the earth got together, and Martin, that's actually quite interesting because Trump is actually, from what I understand of end times eschatology, he's actually fulfilling what Christians used to expect the Antichrist to wind up doing. I mean, kuf resh nun. That's the word Daniel used in the original Hebrew for the little horn. And that basically is pronounced the Antichrist. But we're getting a little off track here.
Well, it's all connected. All this dumb shit. For some reason, it's always all connected. It's so terrible.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, let's continue to point
Let's continue
at
with
the
this.
conspiracies.
Yeah.
Because I mean, these are so ridiculous. People's minds have to have been blown. They're under some sort of strong delusion to believe this nonsense.
Knowing their names is part of the activation process, so I cannot disclose their real names, you understand? Some are not ready yet. Elena, I do understand. Thorhan told me that the one under Nippur is named Aruna. Is that right? Enki, how do you know about him? Elena, our friend that is in the Earth's secret military programs told us. He may go on a mission there. Elena,
they can't disclose the names because knowing the names is part of the activation process. So I can't tell you unless you want me to activate it.
is he referring to JP, who was the first to be given details about a new sleeping giant located in Iraq and had passed on the geographic?
Do you see this flower of life thing up there?
Yeah.
And that tree of life thing in the middle? This is when, now I'm just going to say this. In Judaism, they tell you if you're going to learn Kabbalah, what you need to do is you need to have reproduced and raised your children and have no one dependent upon you because it will drive you fucking nuts. So just don't learn Kabbalah. But that whole tree of life thing, that whole thing there, that little design in the middle of that flower of life that looks like a cat anus, that is connected to Kabbalah. It will drive you nuts, so it's not a good idea to even start.
Coordinates of where it was found. JP had previously witnessed the sleeping giant in a Florida cavern, who Thorhan identified as Ningish Zida, who was also known as Kukulkan, Quetzalcoatl, Viracocha, etc. Ningish
Quetzalcoatl, that's like that 2012, that whole thing with the Mayan calendar that they pumped us up with, pumped us full of bullshit with.
Mhm.
You see, thing is that calendar just resets. It's the long calendar, and the calendars just reset, and people put too much stock into. I remember watching Christian television, and they were trying to fill people with fear about an ancient pagan calendar that had no relationship to their religion. But it was supposedly Quetzalcoatl was going to come back. The sky serpent.
Zida's activation process got a boost when he was identified at a major Orlando conference with over 900 attendees who participated in an activation ceremony led by an Aztec shaman, Quetzalcoatl.
Did
Wait,
you catch that?
are there still Aztecs
These
alive?
Well, what happened was the Spanish put the culture down, but they wound up recording a lot. And then they're like all the people there who I'm gonna bring up something that William Roger Williams, I think that's the name, the founder of the Rhode Island colony. He was talking about the conversions that they were doing in South America, where they were basically getting guns and converting people to a religion that was never explained to them properly, that they did not understand. And basically, after the colonialism ended, especially in the middle of the 20th century, a lot of people in South America were like, "Well, what's our heritage? What's our history?" And then voila, they found out that the Europeans who had taken and basically destroyed their history actually recorded it. So you have a rebirth in South America of a lot of ancient religions.
Okay.
So yeah, they do have the shamans. And what I wanted to point out in particular, they're having ancient shamans. Well, they're having shamans practicing ancient arts who are supposed to be awakening these Anunnaki from their technologically provided sleep through some religious ceremony. Doesn't make any sense.
Elena next brought up the question of technologies that could be found in Nippur, and Enki went on to elaborate on their advanced nature and sophistication. Elena, Thorhan said that Aruna is a scientist engineer specializing in spacecraft. Enki, the master shipmaker, the technology he is guarding has great power. With the ships are also the core engines and a far greater technology, power energy sources. The containers are still there, but no one on planet Earth knows how to activate them. Terrans are even scared to handle these containers, so they are waiting for the keys to understand how it works. The key is genome consciousness. Elena,
What the heck is
Gee.
genome consciousness?
Yeah, that was exactly what I said, like genome consciousness. So you got to be conscious about how your genome is built up, or what?
It doesn't make any sense because consciousness, at least as far as science tells us,
Commander,
is related to the wiring of the synapses in the brain.
yeah, but You're saying that part doesn't make any sense. Have they said anything that makes sense?
Genome consciousness. That doesn't
This
make
is just, it's just not a deep. Oh, for fuck's sake, this is stupid.
Can anyone incarnated on Earth who has the same genetics activate this technology? Enki, how do you think they choose the soldiers and the people for these missions? All have the genome, and otherwise they couldn't access the places. The frequency shields would stop them. By genome consciousness, Enki is referring to individuals such as JP and Radu Cinema, described in the Transylvania Sunrise book series, who carry the right genetics to both access locations where ancient technologies are hidden, pass through sophisticated protective frequency barriers, and finally activate these ancient technologies.
Fucking frequencies.
Might I offer you some word salad with 1,000 bullshit dressing, right?
Yeah.
In previous articles, I explained how JP would activate technologies when he entered buried space arcs. Over the last 2 years, JP has been given more responsibility for missions to hidden space arcs and other ancient extraterrestrial technologies. He has been leading missions and instructing others, which corroborates what Enki revealed about those with the right genome consciousness.
And for those who don't know, that particular graphic, if you go to my first stream, was part of the Ukrainian space arc. That sucker was supposed to be flying up in the air, alerting the Earth to the truth. But it never buggered off the ground if it ever existed.
Being the keys to finding and activating such advanced technologies. Similarly, Radu Cinema has been allowed to go on missions to various ancient technologies associated with a buried hall of records in the Bujej Mountains of Romania, which links to similar halls in Egypt, Tibet, and Iraq. In his books, Cinema explains how genome consciousness is the key to accessing ancient technologies, which are either extraterrestrial or human in origin. In response to another question from Elena, Enki next describes
All this is coming out of the cat anus that is the flower of life.
the existence of a stargate hidden under Nippur and its centrality to a more extensive network that connected to the rest of the galaxy. Elena, Thorhan mentioned the stargate. Enki, there, under the Nippur area outside the ancient city, is the main gate that once connected this planet to the network of the great routes of this galaxy. It is deactivated, but it is the central key linking all the other gates together. This central portal links minor portals in other ancient places where records and technology are secretly kept. I first began writing about the Iraq Stargate in 2003, and it being the real reason for the Iraq invasion.
And for those who don't know, the amount of time you've been talking shite does not turn the shite into Shinola. Am I correct?
Yeah.
By
Shite
the
will
Bush
always be
administration. Since then, there has been much written about the existence of stargates and efforts to control these by multiple authors. Enki's responses to Elena Danan's questions have given many more details about the incredible technologies and information that can be found at the locations where different Anunnaki scientists have been hiding in stasis chambers.
Hiding in stasis.
According to JP's information, these scientists were giants in physical stature and were regarded as kings by early humans. As the Anunnaki scientists awaken, we will learn more about the technology and knowledge that lay buried with them for millennia, and how the release of this will help propel humanity to a new golden age. I'm very pleased to announce that on December 3rd, I will be holding my
Okay, we're not gonna give him any more advertisements for his BS. Now we're gonna go into orbs. That ought to be fun.
In a report to a United States Senate subcommittee on April 19, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, the director of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, released a video of a 1 to 3 meter sized metallic orb that was recorded flying over the Middle East by a Reaper drone. Kirkpatrick describes similar orbs among the 650 UFO cases currently being studied by the Pentagon. The metallic orb is similar to UFOs.
Anything, my friend?
Reported having interactions with US Navy ships and military facilities dating back to the famous 2004 USS Nimitz incident. Leaked videos and pilot reports of the Nimitz encounters transformed the UFO phenomenon into a serious national security issue in December 2017, after stories of the event were featured in the New York Times, Politico.
One thing to know about all this UFO stuff. The place where a lot of this originates is by some guy named Stephen Greer. And he was an emergency room doctor, and then he decided that was hard, but making bullshit up is easy.
And by other mainstream media. More recently, in early February 2023, 3 UFOs were shot down over North America by NORAD, the first time in its history that NORAD had taken.
Those were those famed Chinese balloons. Are you there, Brainless Steel?
Yeah, I'm still kind of here.
Such dramatic action. Some of the wreckage was eventually located and photos were taken, but the Pentagon has classified these and not released them to the general public.
Probably
Why
was
are
one
you-
of their things.
Say again?
It was probably one of their things that they don't want everybody to know about.
Or it was either ours or it was the Chinese balloons that they were talking about. Those things were carting the balloons that I know they said the approximate size was a city bus. And foreign governments do this all the time. And if something's in international waters, you can't actually shoot it down without it being an international incident. It actually has to be in your airspace. And Canada is one of the most sparsely populated countries in terms of people versus land of any country on Earth. It's one of the most. I'm not going to say it's the most, but it is the size of the population is the size of California, but a landmass bigger than that of the United States.
US authorities hiding?
A month later, on March 7th, Kirkpatrick co-wrote an academic paper on UFOs with Professor Avi Loeb, head of Harvard University's Galileo project, that was set up to search for technosignatures of extraterrestrial life. Kirkpatrick and Loeb proposed the metallic orbs may originate from an alien mothership,
which we have not seen and not detected.
And there is something called ball lightning. There is something called fucking balloons. When I lived in South Florida, I actually saw what I thought were UFOs out in the distance. They were these hovering metallic objects. And then later, when I researched it, I found out that they were just weather balloons.
Ah, interesting.
But I mean, this was a major metropolitan area, and there were a series of metallic objects being released off the coast, and it turned out that they were just weather balloons.
Startling proposition coming from two leading scientists. Kirkpatrick and Loeb's explanation was immediately picked up by major news outlets, bringing to the attention of millions of people.
Fox is not news. It's entertainment.
Yes, it is.
Like, and just the derpy face. Oh, what's the cunt's name again?
Tucker Carlson. And remember I mentioned Stephen Greer in his interview, in his press conference in front of the National Press Club, announcing his all the information he was going to link to the UFO committees. He was talking more about conspiracy theories and deep states and claiming black budgets not supervised by Congress. The goal of this whole thing about the UFOs is what he was selling was trying to undermine our faith in our intelligence community, and in particular the military. There's a YouTuber, but he's also a professor at a university in London, Vlad Vexler. He lived under the Iron Curtain. He got out of it. And one of his things is explaining how the Russian propaganda works. Number one, they use conspiracy theories to undermine, to basically make it so that you don't know what's actually happening. To undermine faith in the institutions meant to protect you. And they'll use anything to do it. And this is one of those things.
The possibility that an alien mothership is visiting our solar system and sending orbs to investigate us. Kirkpatrick and Loeb's startling explanation, in fact, corroborate recent information from insiders and contactees who say that fleet.
Let me address this. Yeah, there can be something more. Question is, were those things that they painted, were they ball lightning? I don't know.
And that's how we interpret it.
I am open to the idea that there are things that we don't know and we cannot explain. I'm just saying that what I saw down in Florida, for me, the simplest explanation is often the correct one. I'm not someone who's going to say alien when weather balloon is a more obvious explanation.
Of motherships from advanced extraterrestrial civilizations have arrived to monitor the Earth during this time of great changes in our solar system. The fleets have been releasing probes and manned spacecraft to monitor human activities and changes on Earth.
There is something with the voice. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, the voice is really annoying me.
I think they're using an AI for this because it's like monotone. I didn't actually watch this.
An even more ground-shaking development is that the arriving motherships have triggered the activation of ancient space arcs left behind on Earth many millennia ago by these returning civilizations. As the
Most
ancient
definitely.
space
Yeah, most definitely.
Again, watch my first stream. It was about a Ukrainian space arc that mysteriously, like Vladimir Putin, had possession of his own space arc, right? But yet he was using tanks from the 1950s. Go figure.
arcs are gradually powering up, they are also releasing orb-shaped probes to monitor humanity's development, planetary changes, and are adjusting for what lies ahead. In addition, the probes are searching to find now incarnated crews who possess encoded knowledge to pilot the arcs. These crew members will find their original giant bodies are perfectly preserved in stasis.
Myths like from the Book of Enoch and the Nephilim, and all that has been worked into disguised nonsense.
Chambers inside the massive arcs. This encounter will bring back knowledge about the soul's ability to.
And of course, the New Age movement and the cat anus known as the flower of life. It's all connected somehow. That's what spirit science would say. It's all connected.
The cat anus of life. Yeah, most definitely.
Inhabit multiple bodies simultaneously and change long-held views about the nature of the soul and the human experience.
Why did he have to say soul so loudly?
The extraterrestrial motherships and space arcs are designed to monitor and protect multiple genetic experiments taking place on Earth, started millennia ago by
Citation needed. But look at this picture, right? They've worked all their nonsense into that one right at the head. That's the Nordic.
to 24-seater extraterrestrials.
And the lizard
head of a
people
round
and-
table, Commander? The head of a round table?
No, I mean the one in the middle. And then they got all the different kinds of aliens that they pulled out of the cat anus flower of life.
Oh, I thought their own ass.
Civilization.
Well, actually, that would be kind of a good nickname for the anus, would be the flower of life.
The flower of pleasure.
In fact, in all its genetic diversity, modern humanity is the legacy of these genetic experiments stretching far back into the dawn of human history. At this critical point in our collective development as a global species, the arcs and motherships are here to observe and assist humanity in transitioning in.
Hey, Enterprise.
Oh, I wish I had my spaceship loaded. At least I came up with something original for my channel. I mean, I modeled everything, so at least I came up with original graphics.
To a galactic golden age. Not everyone, however, is happy with the Cedar's return, the space arc's activation, and the surge in orb sightings.
Oh yes, the deep state and the lizard people and the grays.
Those
and
are
all
those are
that
fake.
shit.
The other ones are real, but these are fake. There's no lizard people. There's no lizard people. There is no lizard people. You think it worked yet?
Yeah, my avatar is a space penguin. We guard the flat Earth ice wall to keep the flirts from discovering the truth, and that's just a piss take. There is no ice wall.
The arrival of the Cedars led to negative extraterrestrial races fleeing our solar system. because they knew everything they were doing here was now being recorded by the many orbs released by the arcs and motherships. Significantly, the orbs have defensive abilities they can employ to protect themselves from
Oh, and those recordings, right? The go fast. Let me try to move this back so you can see all these numbers on this screen. They all have a meaning, and you can use trigonometry to figure out what the heck's going on. Like, what's that aura around that dark spot? Well, that's an infrared camera. So what's the aura? The plane's shooting hot gas out the back of the plane. So the air around it's going to be
Hot.
a different temperature. It's going to show up. And then you also have the condensation. Maybe I'm not explaining it right. The plane is punching through the air, and it's close to the speed of sound. And air molecules in front of the plane are piling up against each other and heating up. And then when they go behind the plane, they expand again and cool down, as well as the plane shooting hot exhaust out the back. So this is something that you might expect under certain conditions. And then the go fast, everything on the screen here has a meaning, and you can use trigonometry to figure out how far away it is, roughly how big it is. It's really neat. There are videos debunking the go fast as anything but, say, a bird that's roughly a meter and a half wingspan.
have defensive abilities they can employ to protect themselves from any interference in fulfilling their vital functions.
Yeah. Yes.
The deep state, comprising the minions of our planet's former negative extraterrestrial overlords, is aware of the true purpose and functions of the mothership and arc orbs, and greatly fears what will result if they succeed in their primary mission. Consequently, the deep state has hatched a plan to stop the orbs from fulfilling their.
And by the way, this channel with Dr. Michael Salla, they were spreading anti-Ukrainian bullshit while talking about how Putin is this benevolent leader who already has his hands on a space arc that they found. And basically this whole deep state thing, if you have an administrative state, i.e. just career employees who in the civil service, your job is not loyalty to a president or to a party. It's the rule of law and the Constitution. In fact, the civil service was revamped because of two things: Richard Nixon and Mayor Daley in Chicago. But in particular, we learned a lot about how to structure the civil service to make it less likely that you would have heavy corruption and people following orders that otherwise would not be followed. See, Mayor Daley could fire your average employee at will. So he could get people to do whatever the heck he wanted, even if it was wrong. And one day he decided, I forget exactly what, but there was a bunch of eminent domain things that went on. Mayor Daley was the most corrupt mayor of Chicago ever. Let's put it that way. And they just made it so that you could not fire your average rank and file employee. Their job was to follow the law and to follow the Constitution. not to have any political loyalty. Now, if you want to put your cronies in, then you need to get rid of the existing civil service structure. I'm not saying the existing civil service structure can't be corrupted, but it's much harder. And I used to work at defense contractors, and from what I can tell, and from knowing people who worked at Groom Lake and whatever, and knowing some people who just being friends, a lot of our civil servants in the intelligence community actually just genuinely care about their country. And in fact, people in the intelligence community, like Trump is the CIA, the NSA, and everybody, they hate me. They tend to be more conservative politically. So the very fact that they were raising the alarm about Trump and Russia and all of that proves to me that those people in the intelligence community were putting their country before party, which is what we're supposed to do.
Purpose. The deep state plans to frighten humanity into believing the orbs are part of an unknown threat and a harbinger of an impending alien invasion. This is why the deep state is using its many assets to portray orbs as part of an unknown national security threat and connecting them to a visiting extraterrestrial mothership. However,
Yeah, or maybe there's just a lot of money. Maybe there's just a lot of money in making blockbuster movies. Well, actually, the NAR, I would consider not to be part of the CIA. You see, if you go to Operator Starsky's channel and the one about he's debunking the idea that there are Satanists in Ukraine. One of the things is the more you learn about the Russian Orthodox Church, the more you see the similarities in doctrine, in abuses. And make no mistake, the Russian Orthodox Church is an arm. Oh, yeah, the NAR, they do that. That's a new apostolic reformation. And what they do is they basically throw the old doctrines away. And then you have these prophets who prophesy lies and make new ones. And I wish that my old computer didn't die, because I have a video of Robin Bollocks prophesying for Vladimir Putin. But basically, if you were Ukrainian, right, and you supported the nation of Ukraine, the Russian Orthodox Church wanted nothing to do with you. They'd slam the door to church in your face. So if you lived in a small town in Ukraine, you'd either need to travel a great distance to go to the Ukrainian church, or you would have to deal with your abusive Orthodox leader, who quite simply put most of them are arms of the Kremlin. And preachers are supposed to care about the word of God, offer from a Christian perspective Jesus to everyone. There's some moral demands which are made once someone believes in stuff, but they're not supposed to try to steer through party or exclude people. And that's what happened in Germany. Hitler convinced the Germans that they were being taken over by communists and socialists and radical leftists, and basically the Weimar Republic, and that their religious freedoms were under threat, so much they convinced the Vatican to enter into a pact whereby which the Vatican would trash, and the Protestant churches did this too, where the Vatican made a pact, a political pact with the Nazis, basically to trash the political opponents of the Nazis, refuse them sacraments and all that, basically ban them from church for not supporting Hitler. And they were more concerned with the kingdom of man than the kingdom of God. And as time went on, Hitler's religious tolerance went away. And the deep state is simply something propagandists made up to get people to try to attack our civil servants and our institutions. Basically,
A government above all governments.
yeah, it's not really
That's secret.
it's not a secret. They basically to destroy our institutions. They want to defund the FBI, they want to attack the CIA and the NSA. And I always ask myself, who benefits from these conspiracy theories making Americans hate Europeans and putting strain on America's relationship with NATO? Who benefits from this? Well, Russia and China. And we're starting to see that more bubble to the surface. But basically, once Hitler no longer needed the Christians, he turned on them. He banned the Bible. There were hymns that were talking about how Bad Mustache Man was the leader and the ruler and the savior of a brave new world, but God wasn't mentioned. And as C.S. Lewis said, old screw tape reserves his best work for those in the church. But I'm thinking that the NAR has connections more to the Kremlin, the FSB, and Russia than to the CIA.
An Earth alliance comprising positive military forces from major spacefaring nations, led by US Space Command, has been working with positive extraterrestrial groups linked to the Cedars to limit, nullify, or expose any false flag attack orchestrated by the deep state.
In his all-new webinar on May 13th, 2023, Dr.
But you see, this bullshit artist, all the keywords, deep state, this is the pipeline where the conspiracy theories lead you. I'm not saying they aren't real conspiracies out there.
Oh, they
but
are.
you know, I'm trying to remember. It's Isaiah chapter 8, verse 12 or 13. Do not call conspiracy what this people calls conspiracy, and do not dread what they dread. In order to believe something, you need evidence. And a lot of these, like with Dr. Sala, what evidence has he provided for us? None at all. And then the next one, I don't want to upset the algorithm, but it's about the UFOs of World War II. And the reason why I did the Don't Be a Sucker was largely the algorithm knows that video and that it's a cool video. I don't really want to go into that one. I'll leave a link in the description, though. It's off the wall batshit. And we're coming up on an hour.
Ooh, an hour already.
Pretty good for 20 minutes worth of videos, if that.
Yeah. That's better than on Slim Stream. There we do 5 minutes in 2 hours.
Hopefully next week I will be finishing up that video about Alex Jones meeting the Russian propagandist
Ah,
and debunking the bullshit there. But one of the comments that was actually the person removed it, I didn't. He was like, I side with the Russian propagandist because the left in America is so horrible. And then I just wrote underneath it, you know, you're siding with someone who bemoans the collapse of the Soviet Union and who wears CCCP sweaters. Great job, bro. He's really going to help you fight the godless leftists. And I'm not saying everyone on the left is godless. But I mean, the person was so full of the hate and the conspiracies that he was willing to side with a man who wears CCCP sweaters and who bemoans the end of the Soviet Union.
yeah,
So,
and then again, being godless doesn't make you a bad person.
yeah, the thing that a lot of theists do not understand about when someone makes a claim of atheism, they're not making a claim about morality. They are making a claim that they have not been, as far as they are concerned, presented with enough evidence to believe that there is a God. They're not saying that there isn't. There's I'm not an atheist, but I'm stating correctly the position. They're stating that they do not have enough evidence to believe that there is a God. And a lot of atheists that I've heard say, show me evidence and I will believe. Now, it's up to the believer to provide said evidence in a way which is going to convince the person. And good luck to you. Please do so in love with respect, because that goes a longer way than vicious name calling.
Yeah, and well, there is quite a difference between non-believers and atheists. Because non-believers are like, yeah, I don't know, I don't care, and atheists
Are like,
mainly
yeah,
think that there actually is no God. There's more proof that there is no God than that there is a God. But then again, we can still think like, hey, if you get a good feeling from believing that there is somebody watching over you, please believe it. Just don't push it on anybody else.
our founding fathers in this country, there's a reason why the Congress shall not establish any religion or prohibit the exercise thereof. Because let's take the NAR for example. They're powerful enough and influential enough that if there's no separation of church and state, you could have Kat Kerr, the pink-haired lady, deciding how your children are going to learn the Bible. And that is quite scary. And there's no separation between church and state in Russia. And that's scary. And then you're going to wind up, well, there's a bunch of weird things. Like I wish that I had set this up. There's a cathedral of the Ministry of Defense of Russia where they have murals of Mary and Jesus above the fucking communists with Stalin there. And it just gets weird where they meld. It's probably just not a good idea because you have truth here and you don't want the state forcing.
They have a state or a cathedral for a government body. Sounds healthy.
There was, they wound up removing it, but there was a tile mural of Vladimir Putin and Shoigu, basically like, Crimea is ours. When I I actually have the videos on the computer that's not running the stream. It's going to be my next upload where I'm debunking garbage from Russian trolls that is being provided by Ali, who's the moderator on a bunch of channels. I'll show you. But
Cool.
respect goes a long way. And when atheists say they don't believe that there is a God or there's not enough evidence that has convinced them yet, they're not making moral claims.
No.
They, like, for instance, there's this lady, Ayn Rand. Her books are endorsed by the Church of Satan out of San Francisco from the late 60s. Her philosophies are based on another philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche. He wrote the book The Antichrist, and his book inspired Hitler to want to cram his jackboot down the throat of the planet and usher in 1,000 years of darkness. Rand is endorsed by every major Republican candidate. This is one of the reasons why the churches in America are actually losing their influence. It's the double thing. You have the altruistic biblical morality versus the egoistic, well, let's just say when Rand and Nietzsche were running their mouths, they were honest enough to let people know that their philosophies were antithetical to biblical teachings. Today, not so much.
Hmm.
Oh, you know, when I was learning about the eschatology, you know, when you're dealing with Christianity and what it states, Satan wants to supplant Jesus. And, I always had this theory, like in the New Testament, where it was the religious authorities didn't know what the heck they were talking about, and it was them outcasts and them sinners that Jesus went to. You're going to have the most cruel, if what's in the Bible comes to pass, you're going to have the most cruel, most religiosity, no mercy, basically like the Reich Church, the most vicious sons of bitches forcing a fake religion on everyone. In fact, the Protestants, and I'm not bashing decent Catholics, but the Protestants used to think that the Pope was going to be the Antichrist. The scribes and the Pharisees, the people who use religion to bully. Yeah. And that's, he manifests himself as an angel of light. You have Vladimir Putin, I'm going to protect canonical orthodoxy, and he's just murdering people. Patriarch Kirill, he was a KGB agent. He worked for the KGB. And the reason why they kept those Russian Orthodox churches around in Russia was because of the confessions. They were using them to spy on the people. But I mean, well, I'm probably rambling on too much, but as C.S. Lewis said, old screw tape reserves his best work for those in the church. And I'll leave it at that. But when atheists make a claim that they don't believe that there is a God, they're not making any moral claims. Like politically and socioeconomically and relationship to one's neighbor, a lot of atheists are more like Christians in the United States from like the 1950s and 1960s regarding, let's care about the poor, let's do nice things for people, let's love our neighbors as ourselves. And there's this weird thing where you have the philosophies of Friedrich Nietzsche, who said that Jesus, because he was too kind and was willing to care about other people's and put other people's interests before his own, that somehow Jesus was corrupt. That school of philosophy of egoism is actually more prevalent amongst the right in America, and especially the right in Russia, than it is amongst the people that they enjoy calling godless. So moral claims are different than someone doesn't believe that there is a God. And I probably rambled on too much. All right, everyone, have a great night and great day, and I'll see you next week.
Woohoo! Bye bye.